Check, 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 check on the mic. Check on the mic. And good morning. Good morning to the team. Who we got in here today? Roy, J. Nunez, Mr. B&B, Farzan, welcome in. Mael, hello, hello. And Blackwell. Good morning to all of you. Can you see my screen okay? And can you hear me okay? How are we doing? Good, good, good. All right, we are going to build out the watch list together. I've not looked at anything, so this is going to be a really raw version session of watch list building. So we're going to start with SPY. We are going to start with SPY. First one on the list here. So focus list, SPY. Let's go 5-minute time frame and jump right into it. Okay, yesterday's run, very nice. The day before that, very nice run. Very clean price action. We're getting follow through. The resistance here is clear at the pre-market high at 696. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of that level. Now, what we know to be true overhead is that 698 is going to be your all-time high, 697.84. So the question is, this is $1 million question right here. Do we take the position long at 696? Do we go long right here on the break of that resistance for the run to the all-time high? Here's the deal. If we get a run like this and we take the entry here, the problem is the profit margin up to that resistance may be limited, but we could do something where we trade like the next day expiration contracts and we may be able to get 20% off of that. Or what we may see is an initial break and run and rejection and then pull back, hold, and then go, which still could work off of 696. The only other option here would be to go long above 698, which would kind of feel like by the time it gets there, it would kind of feel extended. So typically, I lean more towards the conservative side of things where I would set the long level at 698. But this resistance is very clear, strong, right? Point of resistance, which means that if this resistance line is broken and we are going to get a run to all-time high, it should validate as support on a retest. So for that reason, I am going to go with the more aggressive level today on SPY. We're looking for new all-time highs, or at least a run to it. Long above $696. To the short side, yeah, this is where it gets a little iffy. So I see a split right there of support and resistance, but I think that that's a good level too. 692. It's splitting yesterday's price action. It's the resistance here. It's the end of or the high of day here, and then we go back. You got some reaction around this area as well. So 691 or 692. I think I'm going to go with probably 691, just to move that down $1 to give SPY some room to flex. I'm really not. Well, I was going to say I'm really not interested in going short on this, but a break of this uptrend trend line would mean a rejection of the all-time high, and it would mean that we're validating that range, this whole range here that's been built on SPY over the past like 2 months almost, over a month and a half now. So I think that we probably go with a short level today, and we place it at 691 just to be a little more conservative on the short. So not super aggressive there. I'm not mostly looking for a short idea, but hey, if this sells off, we need to have something here to possibly take advantage of that, right? In the event that we get a rejection. So I'm going to mark the all-time high with a dashed line just so I know that that's there. And so we're all very crystal clear on what the plan is today. We are primarily looking for a long idea above 696. Test the all-time high. Ideally, we'd get a test of the all-time high and a pullback hold of 696 and then the go further. So long idea above 696, short idea below 691, and we're going to move on to number 2 on the watch list, which is MU. Now, MU was included on the list actually as a bearish trade idea because this has been rallying really hard, right? Very strong rally to the all-time highs. You get a consolidation phase here, which is the first sign of a trend change, and then that range breaks down. So when this range breaks down, this now forms, to me, what looks like to be a bear flag on the daily, as this potential uptrend here is over, or that uptrend is potentially over. So I'm looking for the bear flag breakdown on MU. And now if we're going to look for a bear flag breakdown, we want to see lower lows. A lower low is going to be printed as soon as this breaks $370. So let's go back to the 5-minute time frame. That puts MU with the gap down this morning very close to 370. So MU, we are going to add on the watch list. I'm only looking for one thing and one thing only. That's the bear flag breakdown. MU short idea below $370. If you analyzed this yesterday on the daily time frame, you likely would have seen that bear flag, and you probably know that this is exactly where this level should be placed today. So we don't have to go any further or deeper with that analysis. Up next is going to be CoreWeave. The past 2 trading days, CoreWeave has had an amazing run. Beautiful run here. Very nice clean price action here. And what I like about CoreWeave is not only the momentum and the volume, but it's now nearing the $100 whole number, right? That's going to be a natural point of resistance overhead. 98 is going to be your resistance from yesterday. Therefore, from 98 to 100 is the trade that we're looking for. That gives you right at about a 2% profit margin. I think CoreWeave could probably go beyond that, just given the momentum over the past 2 trading days. But we are only looking for one thing and one thing only here on CoreWeave. That's CRWV. And we're looking for the continuation break of 98 for the run to 100. Very easy analysis. Don't need to go further in depth there. AMD, solid recovery move off of the gap area on the daily here, right? Off of the 200 whole number here. We talked about that on Sunday. And now the interesting part about AMD is that it's recovered so much that now it's nearing the gap that's overhead, right? If you looked at this on the daily, you've got a gap below and you've got a gap above. This is your gap down from the earnings report. And it is not a coincidence. Let me say this and listen. It is not a coincidence that AMD rallied all the way to the bottom of this gap and stopped. The bottom side of the gap, which is right here, and the top side of your gap will mark that, which is right here. This is going to be a natural point of resistance and support, and this is going to be a natural point of resistance and support. So again, I repeat myself, it is not coincidence that AMD rallied just enough to stop right under that gap. It is because that is going to be a natural point of resistance. So what we're looking for today on AMD, also very simple, one thing and one thing only. Can this get into the gap overhead, and can this continue to run to give us a fill, or probably just a partial fill? That's a big gap. Probably just a partial fill of this gap. So long idea above $219, or maybe even to $218 if you want to rock with that. That could work too. Let's see where this gap actually truly starts though. Daily time frame. So the gap actually starts at 218.5. So if we're going to do that, let's just go long at 219. Let's just say 219. I want to make sure that we're getting the move. So long above 219 for the entry into the gap area. So AMD long above 219. We're going to say looking for a continuation recovery move from the earnings gap down, and overhead is a gap to be filled. Up next on the watch list is NVIDIA. This one is nearing, if you go back to the daily, I have pointed this range out before. That's why this whole line exists. And if we pull this line back, that's why this line exists. And now we can take a box and box in all of that price action. So what are you looking at here? This is 1 month of consolidation. This is 2 months, without regard to that, 2 months of consolidation, 3 months of consolidation, and a half month. So you're looking at most recently 1, 2.5 months 2.5 months that NVIDIA has been stuck inside of this range between 170 and 195. I have previously noted this resistance at 195 with the 2 recovery days back to back on NVIDIA off of the 200 EMA support. It puts it right back at that same point of resistance, 195. So going into the 5-minute time frame, all that we're looking for is a break higher and the continuation run from yesterday's move. So that's going to be a long idea above 194 or 195. If you want to be aggressive at 192, that could also work because I'm pulling that line back here. That, you could also run that, but it feels like you might be somewhat limited on profit margin there. So I just like the idea of a continuation and a higher high. NVIDIA over 194 is going to be the play today. Up next is going to be Microsoft, MSFT. And if you don't remember the setup, go to the daily time frame and remind yourself of that setup. So here's what we have. Earnings gap down. This thing is sold. RSI screaming that this is oversold, bouncing off the $400 whole number, natural point of support and resistance within the market. Got a little bit of a rally. Here's your next point of resistance at 420, back to the 5. And then, so if this recovers, right, it's breaking this downtrend trend line. If this recovers, there's a lot of room for this to get back up to like 440. So back to the 5-minute time frame. We said that the next resistance probably is going to be 420. That becomes our potential profit margin overhead, like the break of the pre-market high, after hours high at $417. So Microsoft, MSFT can be a little choppy, but we're going to rock with it today, long above 417. We're going to say a continuation watch for the recovery move on the daily time frame following the bounce off of the 400 whole number. Up next is going to be Amazon, AMZN. AMZN. Back to the daily time frame. If you don't remember the setup, remind yourself of it. What I like about Amazon is that while it did gap down from the earnings report, it gives you a recovery move back up. So any higher high that it's going to make from here is going, you see that gap, right? Any higher high is going to work on filling that gap. So your resistance is going to be 220, which basically becomes your profit margin or your profit target overhead. So for this to continue to fill the gap, we need to see a break of 213, which is up here. I'm not looking for this to sell off, though it could, but I don't think that I would want to take this short until it gets back down closer to 204, down to 200. So right now the short idea is pretty far out of play. The idea that is in play is going to be the gap fill top side. So long idea above 213 for the potential gap fill overhead. And we can just probably put this as a side chart. Amazon over 213. Up next is going to be Walmart. The analysis on Walmart is super simple. We would be looking for new all-time highs. Yesterday sold off, though, and I don't think that it's likely that Walmart makes a 3% move and then continues beyond that to give us more. So I'm actually going to remove Walmart from the list today. Walmart does not make the watch list today. All right, let's roll through this list over here and see if there's anything that looks out of the ordinaries like this, right? Maybe something that we might have missed. Spotify has earnings. It's up after earnings. Typically not a name that we day trade, so we're going to just kind of skip that one. But that price action in the pre-market was exactly what we're looking for. Anything that, again, looks out of the ordinary or anything that looks like we might have missed it. Shopify has earnings coming up. CSCO has earnings coming up. I think if I'm looking at the list that we have right now, I'm going to have to go back and double check. But I think our top stock pick long is going to be AMD for that gap fill, possibly even NVIDIA. But 2 days run on NVIDIA to a point of resistance seems a bit extended. McDonald's has earnings coming up. So I think AMD is going to be our choice because it's already gotten earnings out of the way, and it's just digesting the earnings report and recovering. So I think that's going to be our top stock pick long. And then our top stock pick short, probably going to be MU. I just really like the fact that it Well, it's so extended on the daily, right? We've known that MU has been ready to kind of correct a little bit. There's D-Dog with earnings. We're going to skip that one because it's just not typically day traded, but JMIA with earnings. So yeah, MU, it's extended, right? We've known that on the daily. That was up work with the gap down from earnings. And it's due for a recovery move. Unity Software has earnings coming up. So since MU is kind of already giving us the the corrective move back down, I think that it sets us up very nicely for a further breakdown, especially if we can get overall market backing. But the thing about these chip names is that they've been moving on their own. Robinhood has earnings this afternoon. They've been moving on their own kind of without regard to the overall market. So it will be interesting to see. That's UPST with earnings this afternoon. It will be interesting to see if there's a split, because a lot of times you'll see these chip stocks move, like the same sector will move similarly. But so it'll be interesting to see if we do indeed get a bullish day on AMD and also a bearish day on MU. But what I like is that they're both presenting setups in the opposite direction, and both of those names can make big moves pretty quickly. So for that reason, AMD is going to be the top stock pick long, and MU is going to be our top stock pick short today. What was that there? TSM up. Okay. All right, so I don't really see anything that I like any better than what we have. So we're going to make one change and move one of these names up here. And it's probably just going to be MU, since I did say that that was going to be our top stock pick long. So let's delete the long level here, and we'll go back. I think it's a short below 370, correct? Let's just verify. Yes, short below $370. And for the notes, we'll just repeat exactly what we've already said, which is that it's extended on the daily, and recently broke down from a range to form a bear flag. Today, we are watching for a break of that bear flag. So there you have it. That is going to be your full watch list for today. Let's do a quick review. If you're just joining in, you're late, but it's okay. You can watch this stream from the very beginning. If you just exit, as soon as I end it, if you just exit out and click on that link again, you should be able to rewind. So we've got SPY long above 696, looks good. Short below 691, looks good. Up next is going to be MU, short below 370, looks good. Then we've got AMD, long above 219, yep, looks good. Then we got Microsoft above 417, yes. CoreWeave above 98, yes. NVIDIA above 194, yes. And Amazon over 213. Yes, Amazon, if I had to choose what's my least quality setup here today, it's going to be Amazon, because I'm looking to take Amazon long, but it did sell off from the earnings report. So maybe it's a chance that this was just a overreaction initially, and then you kind of get 2 days of pullback against this overall trend back up, and then it's going to maybe continue to move back down. So it could look like that today. So Amazon, for us to try to be going long on this, it feels a little bit out of reach, but anyways, if it presents a setup, an opportunity there, then we'll definitely trade it. This is me kind of just doing some guesswork on what I think might happen, and there could be a chance that uptrend there just fails. But if that's the case, that's fine. That'll set us up for a bear flag breakdown going into tomorrow. So we're not going to take Amazon short today. We're going to let it. If it's going to sell, we're going to let it go, and it'll set us up better tomorrow for another opportunity there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. A lot of you are saying, I see some of you are saying that PLTR looks good. I mean, yeah, it made a recovery move, right? But yesterday had a recovery move, but I don't see a high probability setup on PLTR. There's a very specific criteria that stocks need to meet to make my watch list. And when I look at PLTR, I don't see anything here that would make me really want to put this on the list. There's nothing here really that qualifies this as a high probability setup other than the fact that it's just kind of bouncing. But the stock is still weak. So earnings report sell-off, didn't gap down, but did sell off. This almost looks like a bear flag to me. I know you got the 150 level overhead, but you also got the 200 EMA there. I think that if this presents higher highs again today, then we can entertain the idea of taking this long tomorrow. But I don't like PLTR in terms of what I see on the daily in relation to everything else that I have on the watch list. I think that all of my setups on the watch list qualify in multiple categories for high probability setup, whereas PLTR might qualify for one, but that's a bit of a stretch. So personally, I don't like PLTR today. I'm not saying that you should not trade it. If you see something there that matches your criteria and you're deeming this as high probability, please don't let me talk you out of taking your trade. If you have a plan in place, as long as it's a solid plan and the risk is defined, feel free to take your trades. But I posted an Instagram story yesterday, and I really harped on this, and I posted a reel about this as well. Just because we can trade something doesn't mean that we should or doesn't mean that we have to. The biggest difference between me as a mentor and all these other gurus out there on Instagram is that they probably do not have a system where they really focus and hone in on high probability setups. They most likely have a system where they're probably calling out 20 different names, and something like PLTR could make their list, where there's no real rhyme or reason why it would make the list other than maybe it just has some recent momentum. And those types of mentorships, it may work every now and then, but mostly it's confusing, and it really doesn't build any good habits for the future. So I'm going to stay disciplined and stick with what I know, and that is these setups have multiple criteria that are being met that would deem these as high probability for me over something like PLTR. But again, don't let me talk you out of it. If you've got a plan and it's in place and you like PLTR and it matches what your criteria is for a high probability setup, then by all means, trade it. So here is your watch list for today, full watch list posted right here in the Discord server. We will be trading live. We're not going to trade live on YouTube because there's a delay that I can't control. So YouTube is no good for us. So we will be trading live in the Discord server. Here's how you're going to navigate there. In the Discord server, once you're inside, scroll all the way down to the bottom left-hand side. You're going to see a voice channel called the Arena. So under voice channels heading, the Arena, you're going to see people piled in here. Click on the Arena. You're going to join in right there, and that is where we will conduct the live trading. I'll see you there in give me like 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll meet you over in the Arena. We'll do one more quick review before the day starts, and then then we'll get to the live trading. So good luck today. Make sure you're waiting for proper confirmation first before taking these trades. Do not enter under assumption. It is not, hey, I know that MU is going to break 370, so let me go short before it breaks 370. That's not the case. Think of these as if, that's IF, then statements. If then, THEN. If MU breaks 370, then I take the trade. If MU does not break 370, then I do not take the trade. So wait for the break first, wait for your confirmations first, and then take the trade. If you don't know what your confirmations look like, that's where the live trading comes in. Come sit in here in the live trading, listen to me walk you through the price action in real time, and I'll give you the confirmations when I see them. All right, good luck today. We'll see you over in the live trading in the Arena in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'll be there. Thank you for your time. I hope the morning review has helped. Pretty straightforward day. Top stock pick long going to be AMD. Top stock pick short going to be MU. Go make some money, my friends. Cheers.